EGM Network.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha!
Well, hi there, and welcome. We have a new topic that has basically been discussed a lot recently, but it's been going on rather secretly for about 30 years or more. We're talking decades to correct. And I'll tell you what it is. The word is gerrymandering. That doesn't tell you much of anything, except it's a new word, right? Well, what it is, it's when there's manipulation of the boundaries of electoral constituency. Yeah, what does that mean? When they regulate the boundaries of some representative, let's say for the House of Representatives in Congress, they all have districts. Even in Florida, remember Posey had a district and others? Well, these districts nationwide in many states were manipulated to include a Democrat or Republican. In 90% of the cases, it was Democrat. And I'll tell you how they do it. A lot of Democrats, not all of them, of course, but a good percentage of them are people who live in the cities, where they'd take one spot out of the city, let's say a 5 or 10 square mile area that may have been loaded with high-rise apartment houses, and then include over 100 miles of country farmland that was basically another party, but because of redistricting, the majority of people were one party over another. In the city case, it was Democrats. In the country case, it was Republicans. Now, in some states that have nothing but country and smaller villages, and we have many of them, like Wyoming and others, that is no problem, while usually the parties in Congress actually represent their district. Well, in this case, the gerrymandering, they know that the entire countryside, let's say in Massachusetts, about 35% of the people outside of the major cities are all Republican. Well, because the cities were redistricted, where it included so much of the countryside, even though 36% of Massachusetts is Republican, they don't have one representative in Congress. It is all Democratic because of the redistricting. They'll take one big city like Boston, and it stretches out over the countryside with 6 or 7 different districts in order to dilute the Republican amount in the countryside and have all Democrat congressional leaders representing that constituency. Now, this wasn't done in a few months. It wasn't done in a few years. We're talking about decades. And it is true in many, many other states. Well, right now, the one that really became obvious is ever since Trump's first election and all during the Biden 4 years, in southwestern Texas along the border, from the Trump years, there were legal Latin immigrants, both from Mexico, South America, Central America, even Spain, that were legalized citizens. They were vetted and interviewed and did the proper application. And what happened is it ended up being about 90%, these 5 districts in southwest Texas, which all go on the border with Mexico, are 90% Latin occupancies, but legal Latin. So what happened during the Biden years, all these illegal Latins and others came through the border there, literally urinated on their pastures of produce, literally picked some of the produce to eat, and squashed some of the plants, many of the plants, with their wagons and carts and what have you, going through them. And it got all of those legalized Latin citizens very, very upset, to the point in this last election, those 5 counties voted 90% for Trump because they wanted the border closed and to get their farmland back. But from years and years ago, those 5 districts were Democratic, and they kept, until the Latin people moved in, it was always a few farmers of various nationalities, black and white alike, and they were represented by 5 different Democratic congressmen, which was fine. Now that it's 90% Latin, the 5 congressmen literally don't feel comfortable there because many of them speak Spanish or Spanish dialects as well as English, and they haven't gotten close to too many of them. And so the 5 congressmen who've been there literally fled the area and moved to Illinois. I assume by the Democratic areas like Chicago and some other smaller cities and towns. Well, they're still representing the 5 districts of Texas without even living there and without even addressing the needs of the people. And the reason those people voted overwhelmingly for Trump is they wanted a closed border to get their farming industry back. They don't believe in transsexual surgeries. Most Latinos, you're either a boy or a girl, and that's it. They don't agree to men playing in women's sports. Almost everything that the Democratic Party represents today. And so they're fighting being represented by Democratic congressmen. Well, the reason we had all these districts from when our country was founded is each area of the country is supposed to be represented by a congressional district or constituency that represents the people of that area. And what makes the United States beautiful, if in different areas people think a little differently than another area, they can be represented by congressmen who will talk to one another and with differences of opinion form a compromise or whatever is needed. Well, right now, the last 20 years since Obama, they've been doing this gerrymandering of making sure that Democrats get voted in congressional areas that are a toss-up, maybe half Republican, half Democrat, and be sure that the Democrat wins and stays there, even if the constituency or public makeup changes, like what happened in these 5 counties of Texas. So they're working on changing that, and the governor of Texas is saying, look, you can't represent the people of Texas and live in Illinois.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, Martha. I mean, how does that happen legally? I can't believe that would happen for a day. And then the other thing is who's voting these people in if these people that actually live there are not in line with what these representatives are spewing?
No, that's a very good point. But what happened is over a decade ago, the Democratic Party went out of its way to be sure that the farmers thought Democratic and would vote for the Democratic congressional representative, and they didn't have any of these far-left leanings. And so what's the big deal? I'll vote for them, especially if they have parties and campaign events of giving people food and saying, yes, I will represent you. And then what happens is once they were elected and did some good, we're talking 10, 15 years ago,
okay,
the same names get reelected because everybody remembers the names. And then the Democratic Party changes, like we've all seen, not just the last 4 years, though it's been pronounced, but ever since Obama and during Obama, it's been moving left.
More left, yeah.
Far left.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to keep the same people in because they were the same names that everybody knew, and nobody knew if they were any good or not. But now it's reached an extreme where those Democratic people, in this case they happen to be white, moved out of the area. Well, Latins are white also, but they don't consider themselves part of the mob, and so they moved to Illinois, remained congressional Democratic leaders, and aren't representing the people at all. And that is not what is supposed to be done. I mentioned Massachusetts. Another example is Illinois. Their congressional districts the last 5 years, more than that, even 10 years, they have 35% registered Republicans of people who voted Republican statewide, which are mostly in the farming and rural areas. Not always. Some villages are Republican also. But the whole state was redistricted that even though Republicans represent 36% of the population, they had 5% of the congressional members of Congress being Republican from Illinois. Why? They'd take a big town like Springfield, which is Democratic and has a couple of colleges and not much manufacturing, but was very liberal. And Springfield, while not that large a city, is broken into several districts that extend out east, west, north, and south into the farm areas that are 90% Republican. And that's their way of, how do I put it, of diluting one party that they don't care for and making the other party more dominant in terms of number of people voting for the party preference that they want.
Okay, so they're skewing the lines, if you will, to create a hub of being specific to that other party.
Yes.
So in other words, if they're moving the lines out, they know there's a scant amount of Republicans in this area. They're going to move it that way, slide it that way, and say, well, the Republicans are voting, but there's only 2% of Republicans in there, but we got 85% or whatever of Democrats, and they just keep moving the lines around like I don't know what you want to call it, a starfish or whatever, and saying that, okay, now we're going to move the lines again because there's more Republicans moved in here, so let's shift it a little bit south or whatever. Is that what seems to be happening?
That is exactly what's happening.
And that's amazing that people have, that have been getting away with that.
They've been getting away with it for about at least 60 years. But the point is, most of that time historically was not a big deal because Democrats and Republicans didn't call each other Hitler, Pocahontas, and all these names.
Right. Well,
they actually respected one another, and they compromised.
Right. They weren't calling each other out.
Only from like Obama on now, it's like one party's good, one party's evil, and that is it.
Yeah.
And that is ruining our democracy. And they're trying to get around it. They know they're not being democratic, but they're trying to, throughout the country, starting with the Democratic states, Illinois, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, California, and Virginia, they've started with those states redistricting to make sure that the Democrats get almost all of Congress from those states by redistricting and thinning out Republican areas by making them separate districts. And right now, that the big issue is because the legalized Latinos in those five districts of Southwest Texas that affect the border, they were furious over the last 4 years of their farms being ruined by illegal immigrants. And they are very, very outspoken about it. And the governor of Texas is involved. The other areas, it's been like this for years. What are you going to do? So on that note, we'll take a quick break, but stay with us. I have some more information for you. I want to introduce you to our main sponsor, Highland Plaza, located on US 1 on the east side of the Highland Drive traffic light. We even have our own left-hand turn lane. One of the places in there, the first one on the north side, is Easy Stop, and you will be surprised what competitive and beautiful prices they have. You should give it a shot. Also, Tony's Hairstyling Salon is ideal for the entire family at all ages. He and his wife have run a salon there for years with a huge following. Also, we want to tell you about La Taberna Restaurant. It has the freshest Mexican food in town and a well-experienced chef. You will be most surprised not only by the food, but the reasonable prices. Also, I want to tell you about the nail salon. It's Luxury Nails. Let me tell you, they do everything, both for walk-in clients and appointments. Appointments are really appreciated, but they treat all clients professionally. Now, I want to repeat to you, this is located on US 1, just east of Highland Drive at the traffic light. It's a beautiful yellow building with a maroon awning. We look forward to seeing you there. Come on over.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock tariff-free coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs in the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of American-made Telescope, Berlin Gardens, and Pollywood, all with no tariff ever. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a summer sale with lots of great markdowns and discounts on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of name brand closeouts and sale items. Come in now for our summer sale and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
And we're back, Martha.
Well, welcome back. Hey, everything that we had just described, there's a word for it. It's called cracking and packing, which is what they say in Congress. Cracking is ruining the other party by taking a 90% area, let's say, that is totally Republican, and break it into 3 districts so that they get 30 to 40% or less in a district, and the rest of the district, which may be 100 miles away in a city, is all Democratic. And they're hoping to do that for the whole country, but right now they won't, because there are many states that are pretty close to 90% all Democratic, and there's a lot of geographically less populated states that are 90% or more Republican. You know which ones they are. A lot of the South states and Wyoming and Montana and all of that. Mm-hmm. So you can't really redistrict when the whole state is closer to one party. But anywhere, any state where there are major large cities, this gerrymandering is up for grabs. And I think those states involved have got to be straightened out, not to go to the other extreme either. So, like make it all Republican when it's 60% Democratic or something. They've really got to represent the population based on the census and really straighten this out.
Mm-hmm. The thing that's confusing is, how do you add part of a city into a district that's 100 miles away? To me, I would think it should be exactly where that person is living or that congressman represents. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't be here and then 100 miles away. But that's just me thinking.
In many cases, that is it. But when they really depend on an extreme, they will have these weird-looking districts.
Okay.
And it can't go the other way either. It has to be fair of what the constituency or population of that area wants. That is a democracy. So on that note, we'll wish you a good week, and hey, have a good one.